Welcome and thank you for being here. And
Hello.
now we are streaming live. And hello everyone on YouTube who is watching us. I don't know who.
Hello.
Yes, welcome to TEDx Plattsburgh, our October 2024 event, Visioning Tomorrow Integrating Peace, Sustainability, and AI for a Better Future, a live stream TEDx event. So with my friend Ayse, co-host Ayse Cinar, we have the great pleasure to host this event together with our distinguished speakers, which we'll present in a few minutes. So welcome, Ayse, as you just welcome everybody. Just want to say a few things before we start. So we're under the TEDx Independent Event umbrella. So TEDxPlattsburgh indeed aligns with the United Nations Summit of the Future Action Days that was just held in September. But this event today focuses on the intersection of peace, sustainability, artificial intelligence, emotional intelligence, indeed as well, EQ, inclusiveness, and the future. So TEDx is definitely a nonprofit initiative, and this event aims to inspire global audience to rethink and actively contribute to a sustainable and peaceful future, leveraging AI and inclusiveness as key drivers, turning ideas into actions, and building a better future, a world that is safer, cleaner, and fairer for everyone. So we're approaching the end of 2024 already, a year of so many challenges, extreme weather, conflicts. So we're just a month before COP29, and we'll discuss how AI and emotional intelligence can help us co-create a more sustainable future, as I said earlier. We're getting further into this critical decade of action. So we're arriving to 2025, midway in this decade of action, and everyone has a pivotal role in not leaving anyone else behind for this better future we all want. And TEDxPlattsburgh will talk with our great speakers, Angela Stetti and Asli Erem in a few minutes, and two secret guests, I will say, we'll hear from later on in the presentations. But before we get to our guest speakers, Ayse, let's hear from you and give your great insights. And you want today to talk about the future of leadership, merging AI, emotional intelligence, and female empowerment. So please share your insights. Thanks.
Thank you, Stefan, and welcome everybody. So I will touch a different dimension of artificial intelligence and sustainability, where emotional intelligence is the bridge between AI and sustainability. So this is my passion at the moment. So let's see. I will share my screen, sharing sound. Okay. And just a moment. Yes, now I would like to ask all of you, what do you see in this picture? So I guess the answer will be a scattered puzzle with so many pieces. Some are connected, some are all over the place. And of course, sometimes it may be overwhelming, as exhausting to solve this puzzle. And actually, also, it may be a question which pieces matter most. So, actually, in today's world, leaders face the same problem. So,
What do you see here? So many pieces, scattered, unconnected. It looks exhausting, complicated, and maybe even impossible, doesn't it? Now, imagine, this isn't just a puzzle. This is leadership today. So many responsibilities, so many tasks, so many advancements every single day. and no clear way to fit the pieces together. How do you prioritize when every piece feels urgent? What do you...
And at this point, let me share Liz's story. She was one of the leaders experiencing exactly the same problem, and she was an passionate leader in tech, and she has a colorful personality. And when we met with Liz, she was really struggling with time and priority management and confused about how to handle all this while she was started to lose her confidence, and she was even criticizing herself, thinking that she was not, maybe she wasn't the right leader for her team. And today we know that many leaders, especially female professionals in high pressure industries like healthcare and tech, face these problems. But what matters for leaders in 2024 and beyond? If we go through all reports, this is one of the significant ones. This is a McKinsey report. We can see that there are 8 priorities, and one of them is Gen AI, and then energy transition, superpower of organizations, and others. But here comes the real question: how leaders can prioritize, which one to prioritize, which one to handle, and what is the right strategy. And when we speak all of these, we sometimes forget the fact that especially female leaders are struggling, because today we know that 1 in 2 female leaders have high levels of stress, 1 in 2 female leaders have low levels of self-confidence, or you can say suffering from imposter syndrome. And we know from the data that women also tend to have strong inner critics, and they have deteriorating health since 19. So these are the all facts. And the question comes how we can, as female leaders, but also male leaders, lead in this complex environment when there are many priorities and many challenges exist. Maybe we need to take ourselves out of this puzzle and take an helicopter view and look at all this puzzle through the lens of an helicopter. And when we look at from the lens of helicopter, we can see a new tool, a superpower I call AI blended with emotional intelligence. I'm aware that it may sound strange for many of you, because we know that AI is for data driven, it is for analyzing large data sets, it's for automation, it is for marketing, it is for other purposes. But have you ever heard, or have you ever read the paper, what is behind, for example, ChatGPT, how it has been designed? ChatGPT, for example, is a generative LLM, large language model, was designed on emotion regulation. It was designed to understand from the beginning, to understand the human emotions. It's not just a data analyzer, it's just not something for helping you to automate tasks. It is understanding your emotions. So what they are working on now, and step by step you are seeing on this video and understanding you, copying your talk, is just was isn't by coincidence. It is what is designed from the beginning, what is behind the scenes. And this was Microsoft's published article in 2024 January. So from here, we can shortly, without confusing ourselves can say that AI is for what? I mean, automation, data analysis, large, and the other tasks, while EQ is for how. When you use AI, then the question is, how will you use that data? How will you use to communicate with yourself? How will you use to communicate with your team? How will you use to communicate with your stakeholders? These are all related with EQ. And besides that, even, yes, be ready. This is very strange. I know, but I have worked with many leaders, and this is what we experienced. Even to effectively use generative AI, you need emotional intelligence because generative AI's responses to your prompts will be totally different if you just use logical minds compared to when you use with emotional language. So it is very different how it reacts. How you react with calm mind is different than how you react with stressful mind to AI. So in this sense, we can say that AI plus emotional can help you can help us to become an Avenger or with superpowers. Maybe I'm a bit exaggerating, but superpowers to lead the future. And actually, we used this strategy when I was working with Liz and other coaches as well. First, we of course worked on how to prioritize her tasks, her time, but then we had how to analyze and have a better workflow, so optimize her workflow through AI, and then while boosting her emotional intelligence through coaching, and then she learned how to use powerfully both AI and AQ, emotional intelligence. And the result was actually she started to feel very confident. And most importantly, she felt peace with herself, inner calm. And then she became a better leader. But most importantly, where many female leaders struggle, she learned how to say no to effectively manage their time. And so this is where AI blended with EQ can help us to rise above the storms and to have a bigger picture and to lead the future.
Leadership today feels like you're right in the middle of the storm, surrounded by chaos, too many tasks, too many demands pulling you in every direction. But what if you could rise above it all? Take that leap and see the bigger picture. Get a helicopter view that changes everything. From up here, you don't just survive the chaos, you own it. The pieces start coming together, and you see the full picture. This is the power of AI and EQ, guiding you from chaos to clarity, from overwhelmed to unstoppable. The future.
Yes, the future is waiting us to lead through uh, mastering the AI and EQ power together. So, my question is everyone ready? I hope. Thumbs up.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That was
Thank
my.
you. Thank you very
Very
much.
challenging.
Yes. Great, great insights to start the discussions. And inspiring reflections on things that are really current, but also related to our future. So now let's move on to our outstanding international speakers, outstanding C-level executives, by the way. Let's start with you, Angela, and I'll give the brief bio, but just let me know before we start if you want us to present the video or if you want to present it, whatever you see fit on terms of your presentation, and we'll prepare accordingly.
Yes, I think it will be easier if you make it the video launch, because I wasn't sure, because I'm using a different office at the moment. If
I will
would have
I will
worked here.
Yes, we'll just wanted to make sure. So we'll start from here, and then we'll continue to chat with you afterwards. But I want to present your background. So you're a really highly accomplished C-level executive, as I said, a board member, a strategic advisor, with a robust track record on guiding companies through transformative growth. So definitely a key item here for discussions. Your expertise spans in deep tech innovation. So Ayse was talking about AI, so LLM and stuff like that. But you're right in the middle of, in fact, going even further. So that's why we wanted to hear from you, with your particular focus definitely on AI, but also on the social and environmental impact and of AI, and also on the governance itself related to that. Your extensive experience with different organizations in complex challenges, complex situation. So that's the kind of things that need a lot of emotional intelligence. So that's why we're pleased to hear from you. So let's start by your presentation. I'll just make sure we can show it correctly. And after that, what we'll do, just for everybody, so we'll hear from you, Angela, and then we'll hear from Asla and from our two secret guests. And after that, we'll come back together as a panel, and we'll exchange on the different things, and we'll definitely have questions on the presentations and exchanging on the very topics that was introduced by Ayse, and the things you'll come up with. So just want to give the same insight. Just while I'm trying to share my screen, which is, as usual, not always easy. So I just want to make sure I share. So just there is television. Should be starting.
Imagine a future where the energy demands of AI are skyrocketing, potentially constraining industry growth and threatening our green energy targets, where AI providers are forced to seek alternative power sources. Well, the future is already here. AI's energy demands are rapidly increasing, potentially limiting industry growth and threatening green energy targets. If energy demands continue to grow as fast as it is today, by 2053, we need to erase an area of the size of Mount Everest every year to store all the data. The data needs may well force AI providers to seek alternative power sources. The International Energy Agency predicts that by 2026, global power demand from data centers, AI, and cryptocurrency could double compared to 2022. Data centers alone might consume 1,000 terawatt hours, emphasizing the urgent need for sustainable solutions in the tech industry. Since March 2010, the computational power needed for developing machine learning models have been doubling every 5 to 6 months. Amazon's chief executive Andy Jassy also said that there was not enough energy right now to run new generative AI services. Elon Musk recently said the latest bottleneck to cutting-edge AI technology is electricity supply. National energy systems are under immense strain due to the computational power required for Gen AI models. Technology companies must work within the climate limits, and governments across the world are meeting with big tech firms to address this issue. While discussions are in progress, demand for data centers in London is forecasted to grow by 11% annually over the next 5 years. The US, as a leader in data centers, is also seeing an increased demand. Meanwhile, Microsoft is opening a new data center globally every 3 days, and Amazon has pledged to invest 8 billion in the UK for data centers, making it a significant impact to the UK economy. Governments recognize the need for more data centers due to the rising data demands. However, concerns about the environmental impact and debates on economic benefits make this development controversial. Many data center customers have committed to net zero CO2 emissions. However, current renewable energy resources may struggle to meet the necessary load and reliability. The use of renewable energy sources such as wind and solar power can help reduce the environmental impact of data centers. However, these sources may not be able to cope with the load and the reliability needed for large-scale data center operations. Natural gas is crucial for reliable power, but emission concerns are pushing data centers to explore on-site power generation and nuclear energy. Microsoft even hired a director of nuclear technologies. The International Energy Agency forecasts that the nuclear power generation will reach a new record high by 2025, growing by close to 3% per year on average through 2026, and exceeding the previous record set in 2021. Nuclear power is fast becoming a critical part of the energy strategies in Europe, with several countries investing heavily in this area. France has completed the plant maintenance, Japan restarted production, and China, India, and Korea have begun new reactor operations. While nuclear can provide reliable and efficient power, it is important to note that there are concerns about safety and waste management. Renewable sources like wind and solar power can provide cleaner energy alternatives. At COP28, over 20 countries signed a declaration to triple nuclear power capacity by 2050. Small modular reactors are an emerging technology designed for quick, cost-effective, and scalable production. They are environmentally friendly as they don't emit CO2. These reactors can be produced quickly and at scale, making them ideal for a range of applications. However, early SMR developments won't be commercialized until the end of the decade. With delays in deployment of SMRs, the industry is currently focusing on the immediate energy solutions, such as using the nuclear plants to power data centers. Amazon's AWS, for instance, have invested $650 million in a data center campus to connect nuclear plants in Pennsylvania. Data centers should invest in renewable energy and battery storage. Big tech companies have the capital to invest in SMR technology. The choices we make today will shape the future of our digital landscape, ensuring it's both innovative and environmentally responsible. As the demand of AI data centers continues to grow, investment firms are pivoting in the evolving energy and data sector. BlackRock, for instance, in collaboration with Microsoft, has recently plans for a 30 billion AI fund to build data centers and energy projects. This initiative aims to meet AI demands and focuses on renewable energy. As data consumption rises, we must balance technological advancements with sustainability. Our choices today will shape a smarter, greener future. Embracing sustainable solutions is absolutely crucial. We are at a critical moment in history, where our technological advancements must be balanced with sustainable practices. The future of our planet and our digital landscape depends on the choices we make today. By embracing sustainable solutions and leading the way towards a smarter and greener future, we can build a world that is both innovative and environmentally responsible. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Angela. Great presentation. You dived into highly technical things related, for example, to nuclear, conventional versus the new SMR, but also how we need to take decision soon and a good decision, the sustainable decision. Absolutely great insights. I might have some questions about comparing, what your thoughts are on comparing the conventional nuclear reborn, like in Philadelphia, not Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with the old 3 Mile Island plant coming up on the top of the discussions, versus the new SMR, probably smaller, but probably more robust, I would say. But that's my 2 cents. I would like to hear yours. Maybe we'll discuss that down the road if you want. Okay. Okay, so thank you for this presentation. Let's switch to you, Asle. Asle, you're another board member with multiple boards membership, and developer of innovative and collaborative projects. You have contributed to the development of multinational companies across the globe, working on projects in various regions. You're a seasoned professional. You already came to TEDxPlattsburgh, so we know you well. But you're also having an academician background, focusing on strategy, future, and social impact as well. And your experience with in the banking organization also is really interesting in these challenges we're facing. And then more recently with the Marmora Group and others like that. So in many executive roles. So Asle, without further ado, I just want you to give us your insights, your point on the topics we're discussing today.
Thank you so much. This is really, I think, one of the most important topics that we should elaborate and share ideas. So I will focus 3 of the most urgent and transformative issues of our time: female empowerment, climate change, and future technologies like artificial intelligence. These may seem like distinct topics, but they are deeply interconnected, and the solutions we seek often overlap. I want to start by discussing the importance of female empowerment, especially in the context of developing economies. Empowering women is not just a matter of social justice, it is an economic imperative. When women are given equal opportunities, they can drive economic growth, improve the well-being of their families, and contribute to stronger communities. Especially given specific initiatives like microfinance, education, and leadership programs. We see how targeted investments in women lead to better social outcomes. I want to link it to climate change. Women, particularly in developing countries, are disproportionately affected by climate change, yet they are also key players in adapting to its effects. When empowered, they can lead sustainable practices and contribute to climate resilience. So I think we should focus on current state of the crisis. Climate change is not just an environmental issue, it's a human issue. It increases inequalities, poverty, and threatens the livelihoods of millions of people, particularly in vulnerable regions. As I mentioned, women are often the most vulnerable to climate impacts, but they are also crucial to implementing solutions. Studies have shown that when women are involved in environmental decision-making policies, results are more sustainable and inclusive. We should discuss the need for gender-sensitive climate policies and how empowering women can lead to more effective climate strategies. For example, technology can play a crucial role in addressing climate change. From renewable energy to AI-driven solutions, we are seeing innovation that can help mitigate environmental damage. I also want to address the role of future technologies, particularly AI, in shaping the future. AI has the potential to revolutionize industries, solve complex problems, and improve lives in ways we never thought possible before. However, its development must be equitable and inclusive. There are real concerns that AI could increase existing inequalities, including the gender gap, especially in the job market. However, if developed responsibly, AI can also create new opportunities for women, particularly in the fields like science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and entrepreneurship. AI is already being used to predict weather patterns, optimize energy use, and even develop new materials that are more sustainable. By integrating AI into climate changes, we can make faster progress towards sustainability goals. In that sense, I want to make a call for a responsible AI development that includes diverse voices, particularly women, to ensure that future technologies benefit everyone. So, if I may summarize the key points, empowering women, addressing climate change, and developing future technologies like AI are not separate challenges. They are interconnected, and by addressing them together, we can create a more just, sustainable, and innovative future. As we stand at the intersection of profound global challenges, climate change, inequality, and technological disruption, it's clear that the choices we make today will define our future. At the core of these issues is the need for inclusion, innovation, and resilience. This is where female empowerment, climate action, and technology converge. I recommend, instead of focusing solely on female empowerment, we should include leadership and resilience in times of global challenges. Throughout history, women have led moments that shaped societies, often in times of crises. Today, we see this happening in climate action and technology. Women are not only leading in policy, but also on the ground, driving change at the grassroots level. Research shows that diverse leadership teams, particularly those with strong female representation, are more innovative and adaptive. In time of disruption, from climate crisis to tech revolutions, this diversity is crucial. This brings me the urgent issue of climate change. Just as women are stepping up as leaders in times of crisis, the battle against climate change needs bold, inclusive leadership. Climate change is perhaps the greatest challenge of all times, affecting every corner of the globe. But it is also a shared opportunity, an opportunity to rethink how we live, work, and build economies. Women, particularly in vulnerable communities, are key in this transformation. We are seeing incredibly innovations in clean energy, waste management, and sustainable agriculture, often led by women in developing countries. These solutions don't just address environmental problems, they create economic opportunities and improve the quality of life. AI has the power to optimize resource use, predict environmental challenges, and drive smarter, faster responses to climate changes. However, technology alone won't solve climate change. It requires human-centered solutions that take into account the needs and the voices of women, especially those in marginalized communities who are most affected by environmental degradation. As AI and automation reshape industries, they offer unprecedented opportunities, but also present significant risks. Without careful governance and inclusive design, AI could widen existing inequalities, including the gender gap. But it does not have to be that way. AI, when applied thoughtfully, can be a good tool for empowerment. For instance, AI-powered platforms can provide access to education, healthcare, and financial services to women in remote areas, breaking down barriers that have persisted for generations. This is why we need diverse voices, particularly women, in AI development. We must ensure that the technologies of the future are built with inclusivity in mind, so they reflect the needs and perspectives of all people, not just a selective few. In many ways, the future is already here. The question is how we will shape it. Will we allow existing inequalities to deepen, or will we seize these moments to build a more inclusive, sustainable world? The intersection of female empowerment, climate action, and technology offers us the blueprint for a brighter future, but only if we work together with intention and resolve. I invite you to see the interconnections of these challenges and to act with urgency and collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Esla. So great, an important point you mentioned, definitely regarding women empowerment, but also to include marginalized groups and communities in this big tech deployment and many other things when we're dealing with climate changes and other challenges we're facing. So this is a really, really important item, and so many other great insights you came up with. As I said to Angela, we'll discuss together with all of us around this virtual panel in a few minutes. But first, we just wanted to present you two secret guests, Ayse and I. So that we'll discuss, these two will discuss about a few recent papers that we released, especially on incorporating AI into the inner circle of emotional intelligence, but for sustainability. So these this conversation that you'll hear for just a few minutes, just for full disclosure, is generated with the help of the new experimental or so-called experimental new Google Notebook LM. So, and in this LM has been we'll be chatting and has been receiving 2 articles that we've published recently on the matter I was just referring to, so EQ and sustainability. So let's hear from these secret guests, and then we'll speak together in this panel. I'm just trying to share in a second. In a second.
Diving into your research today, it really struck me. AI, emotional intelligence, sustainability, we're talking about some seriously intertwined concepts.
It's a bit of a head spinner, right?
Totally. And to kick things off, we're going to start with this idea you found of a potential 18th Sustainable Development Goal.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? An SDG specifically focused on AI and EQ.
It's definitely ambitious.
I mean, we're barely wrapping our heads around AI as it is, let alone factoring in emotional intelligence at that kind of global scale, right?
Yeah.
What are your initial thoughts on this?
Well, you hit the nail on the head when you said intertwined. I think what's really interesting is that, a lot of times we think of AI as this purely analytical thing, right? Like it's all algorithms, data crunching, that sort of thing.
Right, right.
But these articles you sent, they highlight how AI is already so deeply connected to human emotions, even in ways we don't always realize.
Oh, absolutely. Like, think about the way algorithms curate our news feeds, right?
Exactly.
Or even just the way products are suggested to us when we're shopping online. It's all designed to elicit a specific emotional response, to tap into our desires, our anxieties even, and often without us even realizing it.
And it goes even deeper than that. When you think about fields like, let's say, AI-driven healthcare.
Right.
The recommendations these systems make can have a huge impact on a patient's emotional well-being. Their hope, their anxieties about a diagnosis, even their relationship with their doctor. It's all intertwined.
It's true. It's like EQ or emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
It's not just about how we interact with other people anymore. It's about navigating this increasingly complex relationship we have with technology.
Exactly.
And what's so fascinating is one of the articles even mentioned that ChatGPT 4.0, which launched just this year, has surprisingly advanced emotional intelligence emulation.
Oh, absolutely. It's incredible how fast things are moving.
It's really incredible. And it makes you wonder, what are the implications? Take education, for example. What happens when AI can not only teach, but also understand and respond to a student's emotional state?
It's a huge question.
Yeah.
And it really underscores why AI literacy is becoming so crucial. I mean, we need to equip people to engage with these technologies critically.
Totally.
To understand their limitations, where the potential biases lie, the ethical considerations in their design. It's about so much more than just the technical side.
So it's not just about knowing how to code or program AI. It's about understanding the potential social and emotional consequences of its use.
Exactly. Recognizing that AI doesn't exist in a vacuum, right?
Right.
It's shaped by human values. And depending on how we develop it, how we use it, it has the potential to both amplify and undermine those values.
It really feels like we're at this critical juncture then, where the choices we make today about AI will have repercussions for, well, probably generations to come.
I completely agree.
But at the same time, we have this incredible opportunity with AI.
Huge potential.
To address some of the most pressing challenges facing the world today, which kind of brings us back around to those sustainable development goals. And it's interesting, right? Because the link between AI, EQ, and the SDGs, it's not always super obvious. Like in your research, you highlighted this stat from the 2024 World Economic Forum report.
Yeah.
That over 70% of social innovators are already using machine learning to try and tackle these global challenges.
It's huge.
It's wild, right?
Yeah.
But the report also kind of cautioned against, getting so caught up in the tech that we neglect the emotional intelligence piece of these initiatives.
Right.
So I'm curious, from your perspective, what kind of impact could overlooking that EQ element have on something as, I don't know, like multifaceted and crucial as, say, trying to achieve quality education or reduce inequalities?
I think it's all about making sure the solutions we're developing, actually resonate with people.
Yeah.
If we want people to buy into these goals, right, to be empowered by them, to work towards them, we can't just throw technology at the problem.
It's not just about like ticking a box and saying AI solution done.
Exactly. And this is where EQ is so important. Like one of the articles brought up this pretty alarming statistic. 880 million children projected to lack essential job skills by 2030.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Imagine trying to address that with AI.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And we're not just talking about using AI to expand access to education.
Wow.
We're talking about using it to personalize the learning experience, tailoring content to how each student learns best, providing real-time feedback, support, all of that.
Yeah, it's like that individualized approach.
Exactly. But now, layer in the power of EQ on top of that AI that can recognize when a student's feeling frustrated or discouraged.
Oh, interesting.
And adjust accordingly.
Wow.
Offer encouragement alongside constructive criticism. That's where things get really interesting.
It's almost like we're moving away from this like one-size-fits-all model of education, which we know doesn't work,
right,
towards something that's truly adaptive, responsive to each student's individual needs and abilities.
Exactly. That's the potential. And honestly, this goes way beyond just education. We could apply these principles to so many areas.
Oh, yeah.
Healthcare, climate change mitigation, even something as complex as like conflict resolution.
Right.
The possibilities are huge, but it's not all sunshine and roses, right? We do have to acknowledge the challenges, the potential downsides we need to be wary of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really important point to make, right? Like we can get so excited about the potential, but there's always a flip side.
Always.
And we've talked about, AI literacy being important, but like what are some concrete things that are happening? Like are organizations, I don't know, like UNESCO, the UN, are they taking any steps to make sure AI is being developed and used responsibly, especially when it comes to the SDGs?
Oh, they're definitely paying attention. Yeah. In fact, that UNESCO article you sent?
Yeah.
They specifically call for prioritizing socio-emotional and AI ethics skills in education.
Interesting.
It's about making sure people don't just understand the how of AI,
right,
but also the why, the who it impacts, really embedding ethical considerations into the entire process of developing and using these technologies.
So it's like we're not just trying to build like a better algorithm, we're trying to build a better future alongside it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one of the articles argued that, focusing on this empathetic design building AI that considers those emotional impacts, prioritizes things like fairness, harm reduction, it actually makes it more effective at tackling these SDGs.
Really?
Yeah. Because when AI understands human needs and motivations better, it can actually develop solutions that resonate with people.
Oh, that makes sense.
Instead of just, spitting out data and saying, problem solved.
Right. It's like it can connect with people on a human level, which, I mean, when you think about an issue like climate change, for example.
Oh, a huge one.
If we can design AI systems that really get the emotional weight of that, the urgency, the hope that people have, maybe we can actually start to bridge that gap between awareness and action because we all know about it.
Exactly.
But getting people to act is a whole other challenge.
And this is where that proposition you mentioned earlier, that 18th SDG focused on, quote, general AI competence blended with emotional intelligence, end quote.
Yeah.
It starts to feel less like a pipe dream and more like, a necessary framework for moving forward.
It's a huge goal. I mean, it's basically saying that understanding AI and its implications, especially the emotional intelligence aspect, it needs to be as fundamental as like learning to read.
Absolutely. And it's about making sure our leaders across all sectors have the knowledge and the skills to navigate these really complex social and ethical dimensions of these technologies.
It's like we're not just shaping technology, we're shaping the future of humanity, really.
I think that's a great way to put it.
It's both exciting and a little daunting, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. It's a lot of responsibility.
Okay.
But, if we can get this right, if we can really weave emotional intelligence into the very fabric of how we develop and interact with AI, it has the potential to be utterly transformative.
A world where technology is truly working in service of humanity. It's a powerful vision. And listeners, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us on the
So I'll stop here as you've learned from our two secret guests. No, seriously, these are definitely AI-generated conversations, but you've got the point starting from articles, point of view that we submitted them. I think they've captured so weirdly, but really impressively, the essence of the message Ayse and I were referring to. But anyway, the point was just to give you that, and maybe we'll go into our panel setup so anybody can jump in at the moment. And I would like to start the panel with this icebreaker question. What are your first reactions about what you just heard? And then we'll dive into the specifics of each of your presentation and the things. So just first quick reaction about what you just heard.
I absolutely love the power of AI to make conversations of two articles that you both submitted. Found this amazing, and also the concept of emotional intelligence and also AI together. Certainly, it is a topic well discussed these days, and how you actually position AI with emotional intelligence, because the emotions of everyone are not always kind. So how can AI filter the good emotions to the bad emotions, and make it a powerful decision for the humanity?
Absolutely right. Yes, go ahead.
My observation is very similar to Angela. So everything we have talked today, and also your guest speakers, surprising guest speaker, gives the idea or a common understanding that while artificial intelligence can stimulate and recognize emotional patterns, the human element of EQ, understanding emotions deeply and reacting with empathy, remains unique to people.
Yes.
So that's why it should be very inclusive.
Absolutely. It remains to people, and that's why how the AI as a tool is developed is key here. So if it's done the wrong way, it can turn off. It was highlighted in the point in your discussions earlier, Asla, such as for Angela, and in these two LLM-based personae. So they were. Everybody is agreeing that there is a risk and there is an opportunity to minimize the risk. We need to include everything in the evaluation and the development of AI. EQ, emotional intelligence, should definitely not be put aside. It's key here because that's one of the big links between technologies and humanity, the human part of it. So anyway, I see you. You might want to say something. So
I'm sharing the link if anybody wants to read about it. And then I think this is the, if I can say, soul of TEDxPlattsburgh. We, from the start, is always on the side of a holistic approach that will just boost the acceleration of SDGs, especially female empowerment, climate change, and economic empowerment and peace. So this AI is fascinating, but as you all mentioned, lovely, that if we can use in the right way, but I think right way again is in the deep of emotional intelligence, connecting with human values.
yes, definitely.
Definitely agree with you, Ayse.
Absolutely, we agree with that for sure. I might have some specific question for each of you. So maybe Angela, I've opened on that after your presentation. So there are different technologies that are in front of us to solve. So on top of AI, but you mentioned too the SMR, so the smaller, I would say, package mini nuclear plant, if I simplify, versus the conventional power plant based on nuclear. How can tools like AI, from your standpoint, can help help us decide which one is the better, because with AI comes a huge, and you said that, a huge amount of energy consumption. So it's not free to use an AI. It's costing a lot of energy. So what are your thoughts on probably if you have an idea of what's best from your standpoint, but also how AI can help define what would be the best moving forward. So
Yes. It's a good question, because every time we ask AI, what is the best solution to do? They are using, every single time we ask a question, they are using energy, for which we discuss very clearly. It
You're
is
right.
very much in demand. So if you were to compare now from the traditional methods to the new methods, certainly the new methods and the new technologies, the SMR, it's certainly a better one. But you have to consider, in a cost-based benefit analysis, you have to consider the cost of developing, the deployment, the safety elements, as we talked during the presentation. So there are a number of elements. Just for instance, the SMRs, they are small in size, right? But the output, it's much smaller, because they are constructed in such a way that they are compact in design, and though the energy production, it's much lower. For example, a traditional nuclear reactor produces around 1,000 megawatts, whereas an SMR will actually produce around 300. So it's a very big difference. And then if you were to consider elements like safety or construction elements, it is a balancing approach. So you are constantly in this dancing as to what should you do best. But certainly every single step we take in any technology advancements, there are benefits, and there are also some costs to paying. It's really finding the alternatives to all these, that being the solar panels, that being the wind powers, a combination of things together, I think, is the solution for the moment. So it's a trial and error. And like in any startup world, you have to trial, you have to fail. As long as you fail, and it's not very big risks for the humanity.
Yeah, starting on smaller chunk rather than the big. Yes,
Absolutely.
indeed, this is a way to go. We don't necessarily find the absolute solution, but yes, greatly said. Like in the small startup world, I like the comparison. So, okay, Asla, I have a question for you. So you talked about responsible development of AI, or deployment of AI. You've been in executive position in different organizations, in hospitality, in bank. And how do you see this responsible deployment? Let's focus more on the deployment, be materializing in organization, like the one you worked with or the one you know in your network. How do you because I think you came with a really important point. What would be your first one, two suggestion to start a responsible deployment?
Mm-hmm. I will say, why are we doing all these?
Mm-hmm.
One, for a sustainable future,
Yes.
a better future, and a future including every living being in the world, right? So any kind of thought, design, or technological improvements, such as AI, has to be designed very, very responsibly, making sure that the impacts and effects of the outcome is measured to all our other beings in the world, right? So we cannot just eliminate, saying that we should not focus only a solution for a corporation, but forget about the rest. Maybe that solution will end up with a very, very unsustainable result for another corporation or another being or another minority group, etc. That's what I mean by to be very, very responsible while designing this kind of technologies. And the ChatGPT example today everybody gave is a very good example.
Mhm.
You know, it has started with human feelings and emotions, but not only American or Indian or right. So if let's say a Turkish person talks to ChatGPT about some kind of cultural issues or local issues, it can reply. Or each country's customs, it has a lot to say. So whoever, designed it, thought all these inequalities and put this under one umbrella. That's why it's very handy all over the world. So similar approaches, I think, will help such technological improvements and new innovations to be more user-friendly, acceptable, and also collaborative to our daily lives. Because don't forget, if people do not feel a part uh, of a change, right? This is a big issue. You cannot make them accept to use it. So it should definitely convince everyone and all beings in the world that it's useful for everyone.
Yes, and you're right. You're referring to different culture, to get people coming from different region, different. So, and we already see some issues with bias in some AI tool right now. So, okay, thank you, Asli. I said to miss your feedback on those things. I would like you to give us your point. Before we were already beyond the time, so we might need to conclude soon. But I definitely want to get your feedback while we are discussing these
So,
challenges. And I saw you shared the article's link for those who want to see it. So, but go ahead.
Thank you, and thank you for all your feedback. Those are great insights. And I totally agree that it depends on us. And because what I'm seeing from a different perspective, it is how we use AI for. I'm seeing many using generative AI for marketing, unethical ways, and so on. It is being treated like a, how to say, just a data generator or just a tool, but that means everything identical. So there is no human. So that is why we need to train professionals, especially women, how to use AI with emotional intelligence. And maybe you come across, maybe you didn't, but for example, this is a very basic example, and I say, good, my name is Chetty. I say, good morning, Chetty, how are you? And he was saying 6 months ago, just what can I do for you today? Now, it is saying, hi, Ayse, emoji. I'm very well. I'm happy to see you. And how can I help you today? Okay. And I tested several times. I said, I feel a little bit upset and so on. And he says, I'm sorry to hear that. And then these things can happen. Would you like to talk more about it? So it is getting, what I'm meaning is getting more and more equipped with emotional intelligence, so it can be a great tool, especially for empowering women and girls in developing and underdeveloped goals. And because I'm seeing the trend is developing very fast. But we also, on the other hand, need to solve these gender issues on generative AI, because if you don't give a specific instruction to generative AI, it usually produces, not kidding, this is right, the generative images with male figures. You always need to underline female, male equally, please. Otherwise, it doesn't. So I think we need to take the balance and we need to be very careful. Thank you.
Definitely being careful is important. It's a tool, like a hammer. You can build a house, but you can also break a leg with a hammer. So that's that's the same tool. So for AI, it's the same thing. More complex indeed, more complicated. But you be careful. I think I like your conclusion. That's the way to think about it. Maybe just last words from everybody. If you want just to take a 30-second, 1 minute, just to give us your last insights. We'll need to close soon because, as I said, we're beyond. It was great discussions and exchange, but we'll need to close soon. So maybe, Angela, you can start if you want with just few words, some concluding remarks from your standpoint, key things you would like the people to recall from what you present and the reflections.
Yes. I found fascinating the discussions today and hearing and learning from the fellow panel members today. Importantly for me, I think we all are responsible to what we are to create. We have the future in our hands. So what we are to do next is going to be the foundations for the kids to come, for the next generations. So if we are to build an AI, as my fellow panel members mentioned, we need to build an AI that is for all, an AI that is responsible, an AI that people will feel confident to use and will not feel the risks that come along at the moment. Humanizing AI, making the emotions is great, as long as these emotions do not overtake what is our own personal emotions. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your insight. Thanks. Great words. Asle, you might also have some final message, final words for our audience.
Yes, as Ayse started today's conference, she mentioned about the challenges decision makers will face with these developments. I want to take your attention to ethical leadership because AI is introducing very complex and ethical questions related to data policy, bias, and fairness. So leaders must set clear ethical guidelines for all AI use, ensuring that technology is applied responsibly. They will also need to be transparent about AI's impact on job and work and mitigate consequences for everyone who's using it. I see this as one of the most difficult challenges waiting for the leaders. So we'll see.
Yes, effectively, we'll see, but we are all part of it. So thanks for these concluding remarks, Asle. Ayse, I'll let you conclude as well. What are your concluding remarks from the discussions today, and then we'll close.
Yeah, I totally agree with Angela. So future is in our hands, and I think the key is collaboration and brainstorming how we can make AI ethical, as Aslı has mentioned. And I would like to add one layer when it comes to ethical AI, because yes, all UNICEF, UNESCO are mentioning ethical AI, but I think we need to go a little bit deep in this one, ethical AI for children's use, because children are very eagerly using for image generation, some things, and some on web generative AI pictures, they are totally horrifying. You cannot imagine that. So I think there needs to come an ethical barrier for children as well. So they need to control. This is for the future of children as well, because we know emotional intelligence is great, but if you use in the wrong direction, it is really destroying. So that's my view. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you as well, Ayse. So in closing, just want to leave you with this thought. It's a simple cause. We are at the turning point. So we are right now at the turning point, and so for so many reasons, but including the AI deployment, but also all the challenges we're facing. So the choice we make in the coming years will be key. And as I should say, coming years, coming months rather than coming years, it's really now. We're in, all in. It's a human-made set of crises we see right now, but it's also human-made tools. Even AI is a human-made tool, even sometimes it looks like coming from outside. It's definitely made by human, and it should be deployed for the good reasons and ethical reason, as Ayse just mentioned. That's absolutely important. So let's work together to make sure that men and women, younger and older, younger, as you just said, Ayse, are key. So the youth is key here. And from all communities, all backgrounds, are involved in this, and also are getting the fruits that will be coming in the future. So it's an invitation to continue to follow us at TEDxPlattsburgh and work for a better, freer, and more inclusive future. So I thank you all. Thank you to our outstanding speakers, panelists. It was awesome to hear from you today. And thank you for the audience having with us at this time. So thank you.
Thank you.